Next topic, directional coupler. Directional coupler is a 4-port device. It consists of two waveguide. That is one of called as a primary waveguide. One of the second waveguide is called secondary waveguide. This is your primary waveguide. This section is represented as your primary waveguide. This section represented as a secondary waveguide. Now this is created 4-port means we consider here port 1, this is port 2 and port 3, and next one is the port 4. One input port as a port 1 we consider as a incident power means incident port, and port 2 considered as a receive power means the receive port. Next, such like your port 3 is called as a here receive back power. Here receive a back power. This is the fourth port is called the forward coupled port means coupling between 1 and 4, that is called as a coupled port. This is also called as a coupled port or forward coupled power receive in this port number 4. This is created such like way means two waveguide means primary secondary. You consider this one structure, one of the primary waveguide, next one of the secondary waveguide. There is a here represented as a single hole directional coupler. Single hole means when these are closes near about to each other, then create a in the bottom of your primary waveguide, and this is the top of the your primary waveguide. This is the now create a replace top and bottom. This is form as a hole means whatever your power you apply, this is now moved to towards this secondary waveguide. Also this move the power in port 2 side, this also move power in the port number 3. This is your directional coupler as a single hole. We next to observe directional coupler as a two hole directional coupler. Here this is your primary waveguide, this is your complete your primary waveguide, and next one is your secondary waveguide. And now create a hole, two hole means we create a one hole is here and next one is the here means two hole directional coupler. Similar way here is only one hole is considered here primary and secondary, then whatever power is applied port number 1, this move to port number 2 side, and next also move to port number 4 side, also some portion of your port number 3 side means this is called as a incident port, this is the receive port, next one is called as a coupled port or forward coupled power receive in a port number 4, and next one this is called as a back power. This is your directional coupler. There is a three parameters is important. One of the coupling factor, next one is the directivity, and next one is the isolation. The directivity is the ratio of your incident power to forward coupled power Pi by Pf in a decibel. This is called as a coupling factor means this ratio gives you coupling factor Pi by Pf. Next directivity, the ratio is forward power means forward coupled power and back power means this ratio gives you a directivity. Similar way isolation is the ratio of a incident power to back power, this gives you. Also isolation is the relation in this form also means coupling factor plus directivity gives you isolation. Also this coupling factor is also represented in the port number pattern means port number pattern means Pi is your port number 1 and Pf your port number 4 means we represent the ratio of P1 by P4. It gives you coupling factor. Other symbol use as a Pi by Pf. Similar way here use Pf by Pb. Pf is the port number 4, Pb is the port number 3 means the ratio of port number 4 upon port number 3. This gives you a directivity. Similar way of isolation. Means directional coupler 3 parameter is coupling factor, directivity and isolation. Next to see the two-hole directional coupler. Also noted down here means several types of directional coupler exist, such as two-hole, four-hole. Similar way, there are a lot of your directional coupler is formed. Generally, we use a two-hole directional coupler. Here we consider your two-hole directional coupler means there is a two waveguide, that is one of the primary waveguide and next waveguide is the secondary waveguide. This is your primary waveguide, next one is secondary waveguide, and create a hole of two means this one of the and this one of the. Now this is work as a two-hole directional coupler means suppose we apply a port number 1 as input, and to observe your wave propagation inside your directional coupler, to see here we apply a port number 1 as a incident wave. Now this is come across your port coupling to your secondary waveguide by this your this coupler. This also a two hole means this also a one of the coupler means coupler is what amount of you couple to this primary waveguide to secondary waveguide. Similar way there is a second coupler. This also depend as a to couple between primary and secondary. Means here is where one of the coupler single coupler is we use here to couple a primary to secondary. Also here noted down the purpose of your directional coupler is used as a how much amount of your power is received port number 2 or port number 4. Generally this is your basically used in a particular application such like your means how much you amount such like your you connect here the transmitter as an antenna means this amount of power you want to receive in port number 2 and some amount of power is received port number 4 means this is depend upon the coupling values. Coupling values means this is a consider be as a one hole means coupling values means suppose this is couple between primary and secondary, the coupling value is the 3 dB. Now 3 dB we consider here the 3 dB as a coupling values means this represent the we consider the 3 dB as a directional coupler means now whatever apply you port number 1 as a input, now this port 2 and port 4 is power come out the half power means we apply a port 1 input port, this is amount of value is divided means 50% is come across port number 2 and port number 4 is also come 50% means when we use a 3 dB coupler. Similar way if we consider 10 dB coupler then the ratio is also come 9:1. Here 3 dB coupler the half of device means this is depend upon the coupling values of your directional coupler. Similar way to observe this one the operation of the directional coupler, here the one of the consideration here the length between two coupler or two holes is 2 plus 1 lambda g by 4 means if n is your integer value put 0 1 2 3 means it put here consider such like a 0 then come to lambda g by 4 means in this pattern is the difference between length between this two hole is your this length exists. Then the properties follow up your directional coupler. The working to see observe this one means we consider the port 1 as an input port, we apply a wave. Now this come across the coupler 1 and come across coupler 2. We consider here the coupler is Now the wave is inside couple through your coupler 1. Now this is moved now towards your port number 4 direction, and this also move to your port number 3 direction. Now this wave, whatever your input is apply port number 1, this also come across your port number 2 receive. Now this also coupler is now coupled your primary to secondary waveguide. This also wave is now propagated through port direction. This also propagated through port number 3. Now this was whatever you come across port number 4. This is now come from port number 1 coupler and port number 2 coupler, means coupler 1 and coupler 2. This is added form. In we get it here, port number 4 is the added form, but in the port number 3 we are here be getting the opposite phases, means we here getting a port number 4 is the same phase, but here we get a opposite phase. That's why here cancel out, means port number 3 we are not getting any value. In ideal case we receive a 0, we receive a 0 power, but here port number 4 we are receive a added form. This is the working of two hole directional coupler. Similar way, if we apply port number 2 and we observe your directivity and your isolation, your coupling factor, etc also derived in this two hole directional coupler as you define here when we consider as a single hole directional coupler. Means overall we here define only the, we consider the single hole. Similar way, this is single hole, same the relation, what is the coupling and directory isolation, similar is also explained here. This is your directional coupler. The application is used for to divide a power, such like a port, if we use 3 dB coupler, means divide the power port number 2 and port number 2 half. Similar way, if we consider the 10 dB coupler, then the ratio in the terms of divide the 9:1. These are the application when used for how much amount of your power you want to receive in a particular port.